Hello everyone, this is Stefan Prodan recording for the Spice Box and Something Awful. And today I'm going to do a NL200 video of me playing two tables for about an hour. It's been about, I think, 5 or 6 years since I've done one of these. It's been a long time, so just bear with me. Poker's changed a lot since I last did one of these videos, and I thought that I would just show you guys sort of what poker used to be like back when I used to play. So I found a hand, and it's from, I think, from Poker Stars back when I used to play 10-20 on there. And so we pick up aces. This one where I had aces in the big blind, and as you can see, the action, well, it's not too much of a choice here. We just go all in, and everybody else goes all in too. And then we flop a set, and we turn quads and river five of a kind. And that's pretty much how all the hands went back then. You got aces and everybody went all in. You made five of a kind, and that's just, poker's not like that anymore. And poker's a little bit harder, and you have to actually read books and do things besides run like me in order to make money. And so hopefully we're gonna play a little bit today, and we'll be able to figure out some ways you can make money in today's harsh poker climate. Okay, so now, as you can see, I have all of a sudden shifted time forward to where I was actually playing poker. Hopefully this voice is recording, otherwise I'll be extremely angry. I'm now watching it. I've just sat at these two tables. This is tables I recorded last night, so I may seem a little bit out of sorts with where the action is at some places because I don't always know where to watch, as opposed to if I do it live. Obviously, I always know where the action is, and that's a lot more convenient. Also, you may have noticed the voice just got a lot quieter because I turned down the recording volume, so you can turn your speakers up now. It's okay. I didn't want to be blasting anybody out of the room here, and I'm still trying to get everything set up. So, on the left table, I have played with Cry for Vision before. He's probably one of the better players at NL200. He plays all the way up to NL1000 here. I think he's pretty decent. He, 4-bets late. He does a lot of shit. On the right, you'll notice I have kings, but there's not too much to do here. I was clicking around the little preset buttons to see if there was a raise size that I thought was appropriate that I could do. I ended up making it reasonably large just because I'm going to end up 3-betting light a whole lot in this position. If you have a bunch of limpers and a guy at the end who raises, his range is going to be pretty weak, and you have a lot of players who pretty much can't have anything good. And so it's good to 3-bet there a lot. So if I'm going to 3-bet there a lot, then I'm going to be bluffing most of the time, and therefore when I have something, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. On the left, I raise with Jack 10. I flop top pair, pretty simple. I'm going to bet there. I'll go back to talking about reads. I have not played at anybody at the left table besides Cry for Vision, although I already marked Baked and Hold'em All or Nothing as fish because they had already done some terrible stuff before I started recording the video. I'm a little surprised that I think this video may have started like a bit in or something, because I thought that I had played some hands with them earlier and I had assigned them reads on them and stuff before I actually got to recording this part, so I'm a little confused. But I'll just go from here, and if it had a gap at the beginning, I'll go back and record it, and then you'll hear it first, which will just make you really confused, so I don't know. So at top, I attempt to isolate with 8-10, but I get a caller, which isn't too bad. I don't know anything about Tri Larson, but I think I've seen him before. I think he's like a reasonably tight regular. I flop a pair and I bet. Expecting to probably have to bet two streets here. There's a lot of draws I could call. Queen Jack, a lot of random Broadway cards will peel, trying to hit a straight. I decided to bet again here. I don't know if it's necessarily the best. I went back and forth because obviously a king is probably going to call. King Jack might fold, maybe, if he thinks he's going to face another bet. But, most flush draws will fold here. Any random Broadway hands that peeled, Jack 10, Queen 10, things like that will probably fold. So I think betting here is okay. Now the Jack is like pretty terrible. I mean, besides the Jack of Spades, is about the worst card that could come. Because if he had 10 Jack, somehow I think he would have folded 10 Jack. But if he had King Jack, then he has two pair now. King Queen probably wouldn't fold anyway. So I think I can safely check fold here. I mean, I don't think any busted draw that would shove on me when I check there probably would have just folded turn. So I'm pretty sure I'm beat and I fold. I would consider shoving river there if it was like a low blank. I don't think he has King 10. I think King 10 would raise such a drawy board on the flop, so at any set. So I'm pretty confident he only has like King Queen or King Jack. and occasionally ace king. People do flat ace king at these levels, and you have to be aware of that. But I think shoving river might be okay, and maybe just giving up turn would be okay too, depending on what your read on him was. If he's not the kind of player that bets draws when you check to him, that's something you should be observing when you play people. If he doesn't bet draws when you check to him, then checking there is much better, because if he's not going to punish you for checking, then you don't need to sort of preserve your right to bluff anymore, which is part of what betting that 8-10 there accomplishes. So I got fives, planning to just probably call if somebody raises. I don't tend to 3-bet with pocket pairs because I feel like at these stakes you can get a lot of value. You know, when you hit a set, it's somewhat easy to get paid off, especially against guys like Baked who, as you'll see if the recording took, I guess you saw earlier. I'll narrate it that way. He's kind of crazy and will probably pay off if we hit something, but we didn't. So I mean, there's no point in really, check raising here. So I just go ahead and give up. So 6-8, obviously not going to play that. Even for half a bet, maybe you could raise there sometimes as a complete bluff, but I don't really see the point there, especially when he's probably just going to call. If he's a fish, there's, calling for half a bet there, you just can't really flop anything good enough to make it worth playing, and you'll be out of position. It'll just be terrible. So if you find yourself at lower stakes games and people are limping, and then you find yourself completing, small blinds with trash, you should just stop. Just stop doing that. So we're probably going to go through a period of time here where we don't get a whole lot of hands, because I didn't edit these down really. I just sort of assumed I'd be able to find something to talk about, which may be true, might not be true. The King 7 there is somewhat borderline. If the blinds were tighter, if the button was tighter, especially, I would maybe raise that. I mean, it's Ace 7 would be probably good enough to raise barely, especially since, actually, sorry, if the blinds are looser, it's fine, especially if they give up post flop. But you don't want to necessarily do it with a loose button, because then he's just going to call you, and you're going to be out of position with a crappy hand, and it's just really no good. I find you can be much, much, much looser on the button rather than the cutoff, even if it's only one position, but you can't really be floated. People can't use their position to call you lighter. They can 3-bet you, but at these stakes, it's a lot less likely for that to happen. So there's a big difference in the hands you can play from the cutoff and the hands of the button. I probably play literally twice as many hands from the button if everybody's folded to me than I do from the cutoff. 8's pretty much a no-brainer here. Going to raise this. See what happens. So we have 2 pair. I believe in this one I end up going for a check raise, because if it lets me get a lot of information. So if I check and he bets, I get to see whether they call. If anybody else calls, I can pretty much just fold. But if they all fold, I can check raise and win it like a huge percentage of the time. I still think it's a good thing to do here, because if they check again, they pretty much never have an ace. Like, there's just almost no way they would check an ace twice here. So when they check it down again, I'm pretty sure nobody has an ace. And if I check here, either everybody will check it down and I'll probably win, because I don't think anybody has 9s, 10s, jacks either. They're the only hands that would really beat me, other than a king. If he bets here, I'm going to check raise, because he could bet here with a ton of hands. Even if he has a king, he might fold, because it looks so scary that I'm checking twice and then raising. On the right, pretty standard flop set, bet, everybody folds, nothing, big deal. But on the left, so the reason that I check raise there is because I think he'll even fold a king, because I look so scary. Like, I can still definitely have an ace, whereas he really can't. After everybody checks on the flop, he's pretty much never going to check through an ace. When everybody else gets the opportunity to bet and don't, I pretty much know nobody has an ace, so I can check raise him a ton of the time. I would check raise him there with probably anything, but the other reason I liked going for that line is because even if it gets checked down, I'll probably win. They're probably not taking anything away from me by, getting free showdown with deuces or threes or something like that. That's just going to beat me. So I like that line there. Although with air on the flop, maybe I would bet instead. But with 3 people, I might just let somebody have it. I mean, with 3 other people, there's a reasonable chance that he's going to either have a hard draw or an ace, and not let you isn't going to let you have it. So there's some action going on over here between Baked and Hold'em All or Nothing. Baked, was doing really weird stuff earlier with calling 3 bets, but hasn't, been terribly active. Although him and All or Nothing have been obviously very bad, but Baked has been playing many more hands. All or Nothing seems to be more of a tight fish kind of guy. Um, I think I just assigned an ass tickler note on Try Larson. As you guys can see, I have many. I use the different icons. I have a Nancy Boy Fag here as the crown. Sunglasses means they're a inbred. Um, you have and of course finally loose aggressive. So that goes my other notes. Where I have fuck face, ass tickler, inbred, and loose aggressive. YU Jelly down there is also Spastic Moose, just so everybody knows. He is from the forums. I think he is on a different name now because he keeps getting banned for being an idiot and typing like he's in an AOL chat room and sending people broken CDs. So he's on like his 5th account now. But that is him playing, and maybe we'll get to destroy his life or something in this video. I don't know. So we flop sixes. Go ahead and check. Not really a whole lot I can do against a player that I don't feel he's going to fold a ton. I mean, you could. That board is not bad for check raising, but I don't know if he would even fold something like, you know, a smaller pocket pair or whatever, because he seems kind of terrible, and he's very likely, I feel like, to re-fuck with us and 3-bet us or something. And I just, against fish that seem like they're going to give you action, you don't need to get fancy to make money from them. You can just wait till you get a hand and lose very little, just keep losing small pots, and then win some big pots. And that's pretty much what I do for the most part. I mean, I do try and fuck around a little bit with players, just to sort of keep my ranges expanded and to make sure that I'm not like too exploitable. But for the most part, what I do is I just find players that call too much and play too many hands, and I make big hands and I bet them. And it really doesn't have to get any harder than that. Even no matter how high you go, I played a 5-10 league game the other day where I 3-bet and got called all 3 streets by Queen 10 on a Queen high board. And I mean, some people will just do that and they'll just decide you have Ace King and they'll just call all the way down. And you got to find those kind of players, and they're around at every stake. And I guess it's what I want to emphasize most of all, is that if you game select, you don't have to be that great. I mean, you can see that I'm not even positive whether that 8-10 bet on that King 10-6 board was the best on the turn. Although I don't think it was terrible, but I'm saying you can make some small mistakes. And I think I make one later that I think might have been a mistake and still come out way ahead if your opponents are bad enough. And as you can see, I mean, I have... there's pretty much nobody good at the left table besides Cry for Vision, and on the right I have at least 3 fish marked already, not even including Spastic Moose, who's worth like 5 alone probably. And then, we got 2 people left unmarked, and if I haven't marked them by now, Merge is such a small network that if I haven't seen somebody, there's usually very little chance they're good, although I'm trying to keep more of an open mind, just in these few weeks more than usual, just because of the events of PokerStars and Full Tilt. There's a lot more people coming over that are actually decent. So, over on the left, I didn't exactly catch, I think, Cry for Vision raised. And as you can see, Baked is doing his usual shit of calling a 3-bet and raising a board that definitely hits a 3-betting range pretty hard. Now, if I were Cry for Vision, that would scare me a lot. In my experience, people don't fuck around on king or ace high boards after they've been 3-bet, because they tend to just put you on Ace King. And so for Baked to do that, to min raise a King Queen blank board, planning to fold is really it's really not something you see a lot, because they're just going to assume. I mean, if Cry for Vision has any sort of hand, queens, kings, aces, ace king, ace queen, the only thing that's sort of afraid of a raise on that board is jacks, and ace queen is not too comfortable. I mean, it's just a phenomenally bad raise by Baked. I mean, he's putting Cry for Vision on exactly a bluff. I mean, and for that to work, Cry for Vision has to be bluffing half the time, which, maybe. But maybe against me, he's bluffing as 3-betting half the time. But against a fish, it's probably much more likely to be value. Of course, if Baked knew he was a fish and was being played like a fish, well, I guess he wouldn't be playing to begin with. But, you have to keep in mind that players aren't going to 3-bet fish as much as they're going to 3-bet, you, hopefully, because the fish won't fold. There's really no point in 3-betting with a crappy hand. Here we have Baked, betting after 3-betting, and then